our concert series curator, Eric Roberts, who's going to tell us a little bit about some of the shows in our series this year. If you're following along in your season brochure, it's this show. So Eric, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Well, always. We're always so glad to have you here. So let's talk a little bit about some of the concerts we have this year. So we're starting out our series with Charlie Parr. Let's talk about Charlie.
Charlie Parr is kind of a Minnesota mainstay, born and bred in Duluth.
Sorry. Just me, sorry.
He's a solo performer, so he's got a steel type contraption guitar that he plays, and he also kicks the floor. He's got some kind of a wooden box that he uses. He sounds like a band when he plays. He's amazing. I mean, the guy plays probably 200 plus shows a year, travels the country, he's toured Europe and Australia. He's really a world-class performer. He's a must-see for sure.
All right, so must-see number one, Charlie Parr. Must-see number two, Rocket Club.
Rocket Club, we had Rocket Club last year, did we not?
We did. I think this is actually our third year with Rocket Club.
Is that right?
Yes.
Who's booking this thing? Why can't they find something new?
We should talk to our concert series curator.
No, Rocket Club is one of the most popular. They're called a country act, but they're more country/vocal pop, in my opinion. And when they come into venues like Lyric Arts, they do more of a stripped down, acoustic, vocalized show. When they're in clubs and in festival situations, it's more of a full-on rock. But here, it's more of an acoustic, and the vocal harmonies are just amazing. Very beautiful, well-written songs. They're a world-class act as well. They've had, I want to say, 3 top 100 country hits on the Billboard chart, and so there's 4 really strong songwriters in the band, and that definitely comes through in their music. I kind of liken them to, they don't sound like the Eagles, but their model, their formula is sort of the same as the Eagles, where there's several songwriters that bring all their sounds together to make for a great band.
And if you think that's a show that you might be interested in, you should really take advantage of the opportunity to buy those tickets tonight, because that show will sell out. They sell out every time they're here, so that show will sell out. So that's must-see number 2. Must-see number 3 is Gary Louris of the Jayhawks playing on November 20th.
Wow. To get Gary Louris here is a great, great thing. To see him in a small venue like this is amazing. Anybody here familiar with the Jayhawks?
Woo!
Yeah. They were a critic's darling. They've probably sold hundreds of thousands, if not, excess of 1 million records worldwide. Toured with Tom Petty and a lot of other folks higher up the music food chain. And Gary is just a world-class songwriter. And I'm told that he's going to have Kevin Bowe with him, who is also a world-class player and songwriter. He wrote a lot of songs for Johnny Lang early on in his career. He produced records for Etta James and Paul Westerberg and the Replacements. So that should really be a good show.
So obviously you don't have to say must-see number 3. Okay, so then December 18th, Sherwin Linton and his holiday show.
Sherwin Linton is the real deal. He's born and bred in South Dakota. Sherwin has been doing this since literally the early 50s. And he's toured with everybody from, gosh, who hasn't he toured with? Johnny Cash, he toured with a lot early on. George Jones, he's toured with. He actually had I believe it was a top 40 country hit in the mid-60s called The Cotton King. And he tours mainly through the Midwest. He has a traditional country show that he does. But this is his holiday show, and he and his wife, Pam, just pull out all the stops. They dress the part. They do a lot of traditional holiday songs and just kind of inject their own flair into it as well. So it's a true entertainment. Almost like you'd find in a casino showroom. A little bit of Branson in there. So, but we serve alcohol here, so.
That's much different. So that's must-see number 4. All right, number 5 is Allison Scott and her holiday show, which has a completely different vibe.
Allison has told me that she's going to step up to traditional songs a bit more this year, but she also does some of her own stuff too. So it's a little bit more of an original, contemporary indie flavor on the holiday season. So, but Allison is fantastic. She's been here a number of times.
Well,
so.
in fact, if you'd like to get a taste of her before the holiday show, she's playing here on the 21st of June, and tickets are still available. And she's an amazing musician. Yeah. All right. So obviously, must see number 5. And we moving on to February. We have John Munson and the Witnesses, which I have described as being witty, eclectic pop rock free for all.
I honestly have no idea what we're going to get with this show. John Munson, he started in Twin Cities band Trip Shakespeare, who was kind of their own thing. He went on to be the bass player in the group Semisonic, who had a #1 hit called Closing Time. And he's also the bass player in the New Standards, who have played here. Has anybody been here for a New Standards show? They also play, they do an annual holiday show at the Fitzgerald Theater, a Minnesota Public Radio sponsored thing, which is where John Munson and the Witnesses, they're the house band on this public radio show called Wits. And typically they'll have author guests or playwrights, just people from the arts community. They bring them together, and it's sort of a live, free-form, interview, moderated thing. And music is a part of it too. But when I say free-form, though, I really have no idea what he's going to do.
That's why we called it a free-for-all. So, I mean, you know that whatever he brings is going to be high quality, and he's a terribly witty guy, and so it'll be a fun night. Monroe Crossing, coming on February 26th.
Bluegrass. That's all I'm going to say.
Bluegrass exclamation point. Right? That's all you need to know. Okay. Martin Zellar, he's a Lyric Arts favorite, a concert series favorite, coming on April 16th.
You know, when we sit down and we talk about what do we want to bring in this year, Martin's name always comes up, and we cannot think of a reason not to bring it back. So we do. I think he's been a part of the series since the start. Is that not right?
Yeah, he was actually one of our very first shows.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Martin was lead singer in a band called Gear Daddies, and he's had a solo career after. Just a really talented guy, great banter between songs, fantastic songwriter. That show will probably sell out pretty quickly too.
Yeah, that's another show that sells out he sells out every time he's here. Okay, so moving on to May 17th, Leighton and Tim Mahoney, and again, they're the other group that has been a part of the concert series since the beginning, right?
I think so. The Tim and GB primarily slug it out in the clubs and at festivals and tent parties and things like that, and both of them just love to come into this environment where it's quiet and people listen to the songs. So it works really well. The two of them together seems to be a good chemistry, and all reports are good, so we thought we'd bring them back as well.
All right, so that leads us to our final concert of the series coming up on June 11th. It's Davina and the Vagabonds.
These guys are kind of a grab bag of American roots, jazz, blues, swing, high energy, very high energy. They gig at the Dakota in downtown Minneapolis quite often. They tour the country. They're getting their sea legs as a national touring act. So I think they're a great fit for lyric art. Appeal to both young and old. They're young players. I think they're all in their late 20s, early 30s, and they're really, really good. So that's a must see as well.
Oh my gosh, you look at that. It's 10 must-see shows, 9 must-see shows, 10 must-see shows. I almost counted wrong there for a second. But it's an amazing concert series this year, and we're really excited about bringing some old favorites back and bringing some new people in. And I want to thank Eric so much because he finds us the very best. Everything that he finds us, that he brings to us is top quality. And so thank you so much to Eric for being our series curator. And so, like I said, if you have never been to a concert here, this is the year. Just try one. We promise you'll love it.